So what do I dread the most in Japan? In today's video, I'm going to talk about what to avoid at all costs if you want to live in Japan. It's called summer in Japan and how you cannot live without air conditioning, AC. This is my life living in Japan, so let's get started. Hi, I'm Mike Matsuno, the man in Japan. If this is your first time, this is the Life in Japan YouTube channel. I'm from Hawaii and have been living in Japan for over 25 years. If you're interested in life in Japan, please hit that like button and subscribe. How many of you have lived through a Japanese summer without air conditioning and lived to tell about it? If you have, please write in the comments below how you survived. Because the normal person cannot survive in Japan in the summer without air conditioning, known as AC. I tell everyone who wants to visit Japan to come and visit any season except summer. Although winter can sometimes get bitterly cold at times, you can always put on more clothes, and usually winters in places like Tokyo are quite doable, just clear and cold. But living through summer in Japan is only for the strong and the brave at heart. These days in Japan, almost everyone has AC. So although it's hot when moving about outside, people can come home and turn on their AC and be somewhat comfortable. I remember 25 years ago, I was studying at graduate school at Doshisha University here in Kyoto in one of the hottest summers in Japan. I lived at the Kyoto Student International House, which was an international student dormitory located close to Heian Shrine in Kyoto City. The international dorm building was quite old and made up of concrete. About 35 Japanese and international students lived together. The dormitory had a really good furnace, so in the winter it kept the rooms very hot and toasty. But in the summer, there was no AC. When it got up to over 30 degrees centigrade, about 86 degrees Fahrenheit with high humidity, all student residents were miserable beyond belief in their dormitory rooms. I left my door and window wide open 24/7, hoping for any kind of breeze or movement of air. There were no screens on the windows or no screen doors. So in addition to the unbelievable heat, we also had a lot of mosquitoes and insects coming into our rooms every day. I can still visibly remember in my room that every night I had 3 fans on and blowing in the 6-mat room, which was only about 9 square meters. And because of the mosquitoes, I had 3 mosquito coils burning in different parts of the room. So my room was always full of mosquito coil smoke with the 3 fans blowing the smoke in every direction. I'm certain that it wasn't good for my health, but I had no choice. There was nothing to save me from the heat. Nights were the worst, since you could not sleep for more than a couple of hours and we woken up from the heat. Your t-shirt and underwear always soaked with perspiration and sweat. The only thing you could do was to get up, head to the shared bathroom down the hall, and take a cold shower, change your t-shirt and underwear, and try to sleep again for another couple of hours. I would repeat this process 3 to 4 times every night. Throughout the day, I took about 10 cold showers at the dorm to cool down, as well as just to get the stickiness and sweat off of my body and skin. After my first summer at the Kyoto Student International House Dormitory, I said I would never spend another summer in Kyoto without air conditioning. And that is when I made a plan to escape and head to the northernmost island of Hokkaido. Not only did I want to escape the intolerable heat of Kyoto, but it had always been my dream to try and cycle around the island of Hokkaido. Hokkaido was the only destination in Japan to visit in the summer. It was usually always cooler, never getting much hotter than 20 degrees centigrade, and it was a dry heat where the humidity was quite low. I always called Hokkaido the Alaska of Japan, but at a much smaller scale. By the next summer, I had an international group of friends to cycle together. There were 4 of us. Titis, an Indonesian who studied with me at Doshisha, Raul from Argentina, who is presently, at the posting of this video, the governor of Catamarca province in Argentina, and Nobuko Usui, who is Japanese, but we have since lost contact with her. Usui-san, if you're watching this video, please contact me at mikematsuno@mac.com. The 3 of us really want to see you again. We took the ferry from Tsuruga, Kyoto, and escaped the sweltering heat of Kyoto to Hokkaido. We rode our mountain bikes around Hokkaido, camped out, soaked in the hot springs, interacted with the local people, and enjoyed the great food and, of course, Sapporo beer. It was a once-in-a-lifetime trip that will never be forgotten. I made another video up here about our international cycling adventure in Hokkaido that summer. Once the temperature gets above 25 degrees centigrade, the Japanese have a word called netaya. Netaya translates to sultry or sweltering nights. In my words, It's sticky, miserable, sleepless nights. But living in Japan in the summer, even with AC, can still be difficult and uncomfortable. Back then, the Japanese used to say, don't use the AC at nights because you'll get sick and it's not good for your lungs. So even if you had AC, you were supposed to set the timer before you went to sleep so it would turn off within an hour. Then you'd wake up in 3 to 4 hours, sticky and perspiring, and turn the AC and timer back on again. It seemed like a crazy cycle to do every night. But that is what a lot of people did. Only in the last few years, the media is now encouraging people to use the AC at nights when they sleep, especially older people who were brought up with the custom of turning off your AC when you went to bed. NHK News now regularly directs older people to please keep your AC on at nights because many senior citizens have been dying at nights in their sleep due to heat stroke and heat exhaustion. But for many older people, there's a sense of mottainai, which means to not needlessly waste. Because if you leave your AC running all the time, your electricity bill will triple or quadruple in the summer. So people tend to conserve the use of their AC as best as possible, and usually that is during the night. As the summer season begins, many Japanese will try to use only a fan for as long as they can withstand the muggy nights until it finally reaches an unbearable point where they give in and use the AC. There's a word in Japanese called gamang. Gamang means to withstand, to endure, to show resilience. In Japan, they say gamang is a virtue. So I think that is part of the idea of not using the AC until you absolutely cannot bear it anymore. Most Americans will not gamang and turn on the AC whenever they feel a little hot. They just pay the high electricity bill. They all say to me, why should we suffer? That is what AC is made for. I guess they have a point. Prior to last year, I had always left Japan in the summer because I always felt that you cannot just sit in a room with the AC going all day and night. It was better just to get out of Japan to escape the heat. So before last year, I used to return to Hawaii every summer to help take care of my aging dad and mom. So that was also a good reason to get out of Japan and escape the Japanese summer. But then last year, 2020, the coronavirus hit. And last summer, I could not leave Japan. And for the first time in 12 years, I had to endure the summer in Kyoto. The summer nights are miserable and the days were just too hot to do anything. It made you just want to just stay inside under the AC and drink cold beer all night long. I barely got through last summer. I did have a small old AC unit in the apartment, but it wasn't strong enough to cool down the larger main room and the adjoining tatami room where I slept. But the AC unit, along with 2 other fans running, enabled me to at least get through last summer. This year, summer started in June, but it wasn't that hot like last year. In fact, not until last week Sunday, on July 4th, did it get hot enough to where I felt that I needed to turn on the AC. Until then, I had a fan, sometimes 2 fans going, and that was enough. But last Sunday, when it got up to 34 degrees centigrade and humid, I couldn't take it anymore, and I finally turned the AC on for the first time. As I looked up at the AC starting up for the first time this year, I thought that I should start looking for a new AC, as the one I have is old, and even the swivel plastic direction louvers were broken. The unit was given to us used 15 years ago, and it was already 5 years old at that time, so probably it's about 20 years old. The average life of an air conditioning unit is supposed to be about 10 years long, and since I was usually out of Japan during the summer, it had been enough. So it ran for about 10 minutes, and I waited for the room to cool down, but it didn't. And when I went to check the vent of the AC, it was blowing out air, but the air was warm, like from the outside. So I checked the settings, and it did say that the AC was on. At first I thought it might have been the heater function on. I tried turning it on and off, unplugging it, changing the batteries at the remote, but nothing worked. And then I thought, oh no, and I'm in the middle of summer. I then kind of panicked because I knew how miserable and punishing summer would be, and I would probably die if I could not have AC during the hottest time of the summer, which is August. So immediately I started looking on Amazon and on Costco online for air-conditioned units. The AC units online were very expensive, at least to me, because I had never bought an AC unit before. All 3 of the AC units that we have here in the apartment were used and given to us. I was shocked to find out that the average cost of a new AC unit was about $1,000 US. I thought maybe $500, $600, but not $1,000. But when you are desperate, the price really doesn't become a concern anymore. My biggest worry was sometimes when there is a really hot summer, all the AC installers are super busy installing new AC units for people, and you have to wait sometimes weeks, sometimes even a month. I would not survive through August if that was the case. I then thought I better go directly to an electronics store, so I I could see the units and talk to the salespeople directly about what I needed, but I knew the cost would be about 20% higher if I went to an electronics store. So after looking through different websites, I emailed a friend, Shibano-san. Shibano-san is the manager of a recycle shop here in Kyoto, and I asked Shibano-san where could I possibly buy a new AC. He quickly replied that he had just bought a new AC for his house, and he gave me the website of Japan.net. I went online to check out Japan.net, but it was all written in Japanese. But fortunately, Google Translator translated most of their web page, and although it was sometimes in strange English, I could understand most of the content. The cheapest AC unit was 67,800 yen, which was for a 6-mat room. I was thinking that I would need at least an AC unit that would cool down a 10-mat room, and the cost for a 10-mat AC unit was 87,800 yen. I found out on the webpage that installation was included, but I later found out that to disconnect and take off the old AC unit, there would be a separate charge, and in addition to that, to take away the old unit and parts would be another recycling service charge. I also added that sometimes there are additional installation costs depending on what is required, but we would not know until the installer actually came to put it in. Additional charges sounded a bit questionable, but I won't know exactly until they actually come next Monday. And then I'll find out if Japan.net is really an up-and-up company or not. But so far, they seem to be quite credible. They called me back right away. They've already sent the air-conditioned unit here through Sagawa Sakyubing. So we'll find out next Monday. So far this week, I've been suffering without AC for the last 6 nights due to the heat and just having the 2 fans going on at night. I have the glass sliding doors and windows wide open at nights, and they all have screens to keep most of the insects out. But there is no breeze, and most of the time it is just as hot outside as inside. Moreover, the mosquitoes still have been coming into the apartment. I now have several mosquito bites all over my body. I do have that anti-mosquito liquid device which I turn on at nights, and supposedly it gives a scent that kills or keeps mosquitoes away. But with the fan blowing in the room, it doesn't work. Furthermore, there are other problems. Because I live directly next to the rice field, there are many more insects and bugs that come into the apartment because they are attracted to the room light at night. Second are the creatures of the dark. I don't know what they are, probably frogs, rodents, birds, insects, etc. But once nightfall comes, these creatures start croaking and squawking and hissing and making all the strange sounds of nature all through the night. And because the glass sliding doors and windows are all wide open, it's super noisy and I can't sleep easily, and when I do finally fall asleep, the creatures of the night wake me up again as they frequently rev up throughout the night, and there's nothing you can do about this.
So you can hear the creatures of the dark. I have the sliding door open because it's too hot and with no air conditioning you have to keep it open. So there's a screen door and a lace curtain between me and the creatures of the dark. I would say from here to the rice field is probably about 50 yards, 50 meters. I'm here on the 2nd floor, and this is what you can hear.
So that is my plight without AC until next week. I'm not sleeping well, frequently waking up, it's hot and humid, there are mosquito bites all over my body, and the creatures of the night continue to keep me awake. It was so annoying and irritating last year that I actually made a TikTok video about the creatures of the night. Just when you thought it was safe. Creatures of the dark. Help me! If you want to keep up on living and life in Japan, please hit that like button and subscribe. So the moral of the story is, if you want to live or visit Japan in the summer, don't. But if you have no choice, be sure that you have a working AC unit where you live and stay and work, or you will be so miserable that you will end up hating Japan. Summer in Japan is basically a lost season. You can't really do that much due to the heat. You can just eat a lot of soft cream, kakigori, which is shaved ice, and drink a lot of mugicha and ice cold beer, or escape to Hokkaido for as long as possible. And that, my friends, the story of summer in Japan. Thank you for watching this video. Stay cool and catch you on the backside.